Namaste. We have Sri Venkatangarai Subramanian with us today. He is an entrepreneur of the baby boomers generation. He has been associated with Sri Shiva Vishnu Temple since 2001. He has been involved in various committees like Cultural Committee. He has also served at various Mahotsavams, and presently he is serving as the member of the Board of Trustees. Welcome, Angaraiji.
Hari Om.
Thank you. So today we are going to discuss the new project of the temple, the Akshaya Vata. We all know how Hinduism gives importance to the afterlife. But the journey to afterlife begins with departure from from the planet Earth. And we have a lot of rituals about it, which we follow back in India. But when we come to United States or we come to any other part of the world, then some of those rituals, some of those traditions are left back at home. Every Hindu believes and feels that the last rites should be done as the last rites of his forefathers were done. Venkatangariji has been very enthusiastic about this, and his parents, his forefathers have been involved in various social activities back in Chennai, where they had taken care of so many people who departed from this world, and then they took care of the last rites, and they took care of the various traditions to be followed in the right way. So Venkatangariji got this all in inheritance. When he came to United States, he has been thinking about this for a long time, and he has been discussing it with other members of the temple community, and now that has taken a shape in form of the project Akshaya Vata. So let us talk about the project Akshaya Vata to Venkatji. Venkatji, please tell us something about this Akshaya Vata.
Absolutely. Thank you first, for this ability to discuss about this very important project. Akshaya Vata basically deals with one of the most important samskaras within our Hindu way of life. When there are various rituals and activities that we do in our dharmic framework, particularly under the Hindu samskara, as you all know, from the time of birth till the soul departs from this body. When that happens, then we have two major activities that starts as part of our Hindu samskara. One is what we talk about, activities related to the dead body or the departed soul's body, what we call preta karya, and that typically runs for 13 days. There are variations within the community, within the Hindu world, and within the region that and the family practices that one might have, but in general that spans across 13 days. Then after that, we refer to those activities as Pitru Karyas. Pitru Karyas are activities that we do typically in the first year on a monthly basis, what we call Masikam, Sotakumpam, Unam, and so on and so forth. Also the Tarpans, Shrads. There are various types within Shrad that one performs, what we call the traditional Parvana Shrad with the Homa, and we also have the other variations within that. Again, that varies depending upon the family practices or the regional practices and the community involvement and activities that one is used to. But nevertheless, it is very important for a Hindu to follow the samskara, and the last samskara that we provide to our forefathers, to those who brought us to this world, and it is viewed very seriously and importantly. Seeking the blessings of those who raised us, who are our family, and remembering them, celebrating them, performing the rituals that we need to do is a very integral part of a Hindu way of life. And that's one of the reasons we in the Hindu pantheon never say rest in peace. We never, have that concept in our dharmic school, where we basically say one has attained Sadgati, one has attained Paramapada, one has attained Shivaloka, one has attained Vishnu Loka, and so on and so forth. But for that journey, which begins from the time the life, the soul departs that body, is those activities that start. It is very important for us, and we are very, as devout and strong Hindus, we are very particular about how we practice our religion no matter where we are in the world. Unfortunately, so far, we did not have a platform or a place that we could perform these activities and rituals in the Western Hemisphere as a whole, not even in the United States. So we have been thinking on it and working on it for a long time, and I've been very much involved in, talking about it, thinking about it, exploring that with the local community as well as with the religious, scholars, the pontiffs of the matas, as well as other senior Hindu community scholars and gurus about how we, the Hindu community who are here in this country, in the United States, can follow our tradition, our custom.
When you talk of following the traditions and customs, we find that Hinduism has a lot of plurality of traditions, plurality of rituals, customs, everything. So, do you think that coming to United States, coming out of India, these rituals, these traditions, these customs, can they be standardized? Can they be brought in under one umbrella, just as many other traditions and other things of Hinduism have been brought in? Do you think it is even desirable? What are the main rituals that the temple is going to provide or going to do about it? Is it going to be influenced by one particular region, or it is going to be serving the every Hindu, whether he's a North Indian Hindu or he's an East Indian Hindu, or even he's a Sri Lankan or Nepalese or Hindu, or a Caribbean Hindu, or even the Hindus, Caucasians who have now got converted into Hinduism? So will we be serving all of them? Will we be serving all of them with the same kind of rituals, or we will be unifying the rituals? What is your view of this problem?
Excellent question. And it's a very loaded question as well. And I could keep talking about it till the cows come home. But in the interest of time, I'm trying to be succinct about what are we planning to do. For starters, this project Akshaya Vata is fully structured and is a project, an endeavor under SSVT. But just be clear, these activities is not under a temple structures and rituals. It is a Hindu ritual and structure. So we are trying to have this run in a place which is separate, specific, and unique, serving the Hindu community. The beauty of the Hindu community is the diversity. As the Guru old saying goes, Akasat patitam toyam etakachati sagaram sarva deva namaskaraha keshavam pratigacchati. So like the rainwater that comes from the sky, takes the shape and the characteristics of the terrain that it falls and flows in that manner, but no matter what it does, all of them reach the same ocean, and after that point it's all the same. So are the various Hindu practices, regions, religions, communities, and variations within that. So what we are trying to provide is a holistic platform for any Hindu to perform their samskara in terms of, to their dear and near ones, father, mother, whoever that would be, on their final rites and activities after that, while celebrating their life, but also remembering and providing them the respect, the obligations that we have to them, which we take it very seriously, whether it is, in every paksha of Amavasya or the beginning of the month, what we call the Shankaramana Tarpana, and or other activities like the Mahalaya and other Shraddha and so on and so forth. The way we are evolving this is that it is one Hindu community, all right, but it's very pluralistic within that. So the way we are developing this is that the core of the rituals, the purpose of the rituals, the activities that goes on are pretty much the same for the most part, and there will be few variations depending upon the region, community, and family practices. So the platform that we are trying to develop is that there will be a core and there will be add-ons, if you will, for a specific group or a community or the request of the karta. Now, in the event a karta is not familiar or aware or is not able to tap anyone from their family to educate or tell them what to do, we would follow the standards that are defined in our dharmic traditions, and that would fulfill the journey for that soul as part of the samskara that each and every one of us should be doing and will be doing.
And Venkatji, this is a very laudable goal that you have embarked upon. But what I understand is that this will be something which will be for the first time some Hindu organization is providing in the not only in United States but all over the whole of the Western Hemisphere. For thinking so big, I must congratulate you. But at the same time, I would like to ask you a question. How do you see this such a big dream fulfilled? Don't you think that there will be many constraints of money, the resources? Because this is not a state-funded or any big organization-funded kind of a thing. It is something which only devotees are going to fund. Only people like entrepreneurs like you or others who are going to do, they are going to fund, and there's a limitation to that. So what would be your view of the funding and how this whole project will be sustained?
Absolutely, another great question. Primarily, the objective here is to provide a platform for all of us, and this Hindu community so badly needs. We have seen and we have heard within our devotee circle, our congregation members and our other Hindu brethren, the amount of challenges, the challenges, the issues, and the help that they need on these activities. And unfortunately, we have not been able to fulfill them. So, and hence this endeavor. We, as SSVT, have been one of the premier institutions in North America. So, while it is a real challenge to take upon something big and new and get into steps and procedures that we may not fully know and aware of, but that dharmic spirit, the Hindu spirit, with which we started this temple, with which the temple has grown, with which the founder trustees and the initial players till today, the volunteers and others who contribute, not because it is an economic activity, but because It's a dharmic activity that is for our community, for our soul, for our fulfillment, for us to follow our religion, our faith in the best way that we can. And we have acharyas who have been leading us through their pravachans, through your Anugrah Bhashana. We have Sivacharya ji, who comes here every so often to provide us guidance. He's constantly on the phone and on meetings. As a matter of fact, I am on the phone with him at least once a week to provide that direction, to provide that steps that we are going through. And not only that, we have many founder trustees, to the current volunteers, and the whole community, which is significantly supporting this effort, both in terms of resources, physical availability, strengths, practices, plans, ideas, feedbacks, thoughts, and whatnot. So this is a continuum. I mean, this is not just me. I just happen to have the privilege and honor of doing this at this point of time, but I cannot take the credit for it. By no means. I am the only person. I am one of many devotees and the scholars and the other staunch supporters who feel the need for such activity, who want to have the practices and trying to emulate the dharmic way of life that we all have lived in India, or our forefathers have lived in India, and are longing for it. So to that extent, we are also taking this up to be practical and to be pragmatic. Obviously, all these activities that we are talking about are too big, detailed, very meticulously are to be done, and there are various steps and stages, the rituals, how it needs to be performed, where it needs to be performed, the do's and don'ts, and how we carry those out, and the education of that to the devotees, to the family, to how do we support them emotionally during this very important period of their loss. How do we set up procedures as a temple from an administration perspective to be able to sustain and provide that service to the devotees that they so deserve, and how do we go about getting the approval from the government officials and others in terms of what kind of building, what kind of structure, and also how do we maintain the separation between the temple and this activity, because truly speaking they cannot be mixed together, because this is coming under samskara, and that doesn't necessarily belong in the temple, but we are serving the Hindu community at large, and our whole objective is to work on that in multiple phases. As a matter of fact, we are calling these as waves. We are looking at wave 1, which we are going to start with this year's Mahalaya Paksha, which will be in September 2017, and we are gearing up to set up the place, to do the structuring that we needed to do, to get the resources that we need to do, and to do the alignment so we are able to meet and exceed the expectations of the devotee community in fulfilling their obligations to their forefathers, in they following their dharma, in we honoring our ancestors. As we had talked about, Atulji, it is a very important endeavor, something which is very much required to this community, and as always we are the pioneer. We cannot do without the support of the community. So here is actually my appeal to the whole community to please support this engagement, this project, Akshaya Vata, where we will have a place for the community to perform their last rites, to their following traditions in terms of the preta and aparakarma activities in the region, and we cannot do it without your support. So please generously support in terms of whatever resources one can: finance, time, expertise, and or education, training. There are so many activities. We have a mammoth task ahead of us. We have an Himalayan task, to say the least. But I would take and request for any and all support from anyone, and please provide your resource, your expertise, and your time. Whether you are a person who's familiar with the civil engineering, you can help us with this new building that we are trying to modify. If you have a financial expert, you can tell us how we can structure this in terms of fundraising to sustainability. If you are an expert in the rituals, you can help us to say how we can define these procedures. If you are an educationist, you can tell us how we can develop the training module for the staff so we could follow it. If you are a person who's good in organizing and structure, you could help us by developing this procedure so this can be documented and institutionalized for a long time to come. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Angareji. My best.